freeze with no deposit. It's ironic, conscious switches and you bouncing on this dick like hydraulics. I'm astonished how you move. I done seen them all, but ain't none cold as you. Your personality strange, you so unusual. You excite me and enlighten me at the same time. I'm just so grateful for this moment in time. This moment sublime. Don't be chillin', you my doctor. I need healing. Let's get high as the ceiling. Then get naked, exchange feelings like I love you and I care for you. Wanna kiss you, wanna be there for you. Yeah, I only wanna be with you. What's good? What's good? Man, I ain't even gonna lie, man. I got so much to talk about this evening. I really hope y'all got time. I'm gonna just put that disclaimer out. Just want to redirect people, if they aren't directed already, to hoodmystic.com, where we have a new moon in Aries Vedic astrology article. I put out a lot of articles and I write a lot. Like I put out videos, but I also write. Uh, this article by far is the best article that I've ever written. This article wasn't necessarily written by me. It was crafted by the celestial spirits, man. I can't really explain it. And reason why I haven't really been making videos is because I literally been downloading and orchestrating and putting together this article. The thing about my website, it gets a lot of views, it gets a lot of hits, a lot of people read it for various things, whether it's search engines or on Pinterest based upon the artwork, but it gets a lot of hits. And what I can say is that if I'm quoting something, that's one thing, but generally it is a compendium of knowledge that I hope to sustain for years to come, and it be a place where people could just, you know, pick up some jewels, pick up some gems. And what separates me from other astrologers and people on YouTube is that I'm still learning. I don't have no claim to fame other than we're sitting here learning together. And where most people would watch Empire on Friday, I'm knee deep in this astrology. And today, based upon etymology, I can explain kind of why. And, you know, just so much that I want to encapsulate in this video. I'm just hoping that it is a streamlined consciousness, different ideas that can inspire you, that you can begin to apply this information in your waking life, in your unwaking life, in your unconscious life. It's just something like I feel as though this is a big thing, and everybody sensationalizes new moons because, you know, they're visible. You can see the moon is close to the earth, and everybody wants to do the big full moon ritual. You know, that's cool. And, you know, we even did the full moon ritual and it kind of saved our asses. So we're not knocking the full moon ritual, but we would like to promote the new moon ritual as well, because the new moon ritual could be just as powerful, possibly even more possible, dealing with the particular energy. So, looking at astrology and looking at certain things, a lot of things are up and coming. a lot of things are dissolving, like a lot of the major planets are dissolving. But as far as this new moon and the moon transits and the sun transits, they're up and coming. And so as we begin to discuss this, I want to talk about this now, so we begin to prepare and we begin to kind of release all of the shit that we don't need. And so that's why I got this glyph and this little pictograph next to me, whereas the symbol of sulfur. Sulfur ties into the card of the day, but we're going to be talking about alchemy. We're going to be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about psychology. We're going to be talking about spirituality, uh, Buddhism. Like, we're going to just really dive deep. And for a lot of people, this might not be a conversation for you, because where I'm usually skimming the surface, I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to take the credit for anything that I'm about to say. Uh, so many different coincidences, that shit no longer becomes a coincidence, and it becomes a fact of life that we're dealing with. Some things that I've talked about previously, I'm bringing into this talk. So, all the new people that's new to this channel, welcome. But this is a space where we're learning and we're understanding and we're allowing ourselves to think new thoughts. You be a fool going into 2020, like, you be a fool just simply studying astrology, right? We study Western astrology to get a basic understanding of astrology, but when it comes to understanding its transits and its placements, why would we look at something that's inaccurate and then have an explanation and then times that by a million, right? So you have thousands of astrologers spewing misinformation, whether consciously or unconsciously, and creating another matrix. So we might even say that sidereal astrology is a matrix within itself, but we want to at least look at, we could at least attest to where the moon will be at on May 4th, and it won't be in Taurus, it will be in Aries. Now, Western astrology says that it's going to be in Taurus, but not not where the sun and the moon will be. It'll be in Aries. So let's look at where it'll be at in Aries and let's discuss it. The overall theme for this whole entire video will be relationships. Moving forward, my overall theme and my overall goal is connecting, or me connecting to others, other people connecting to other people, my wife connecting to people, my sons connecting with other little kids, like overall connection, cultivating relationships, because where we might be talking about individual success and individual things that benefit us only and make us feel good only, that is a limit that, from the information that I'm getting, is complete misinformation. So you have a whole gamut of spiritualists and conscious people who only speak about these things because they benefit them personally. And so everything that results in just simply your personal success is a flawed doctrine. You as an individual is a flawed doctrine. So relationships become vital if you're into conscious, like, you literally
adopt consciousness to learn how to engage again, because where we've been taught to engage by proximity isn't serving our soul any longer. Going to the same old bar, hanging out with the same old people, doing the same old things. It's not the same. And it's really clear because we got the internet and we're having these conversations with people that are not around us, but we have some like, damn, we vibe though. Then you like don't want to just start fucking people on the internet either. You want to have a way of dealing with people that doesn't involve being exploited or being sexually involved, or all of these types of things. And so we just want to understand connections, and we want to understand relationships, like relationships with no context, pretext, hope, pay my phone bill, you know, make love to me in a particular fashion, look a certain type of way. See, all of these are blocks to true relating. All of these, So we have a guide, we have a system, we can work with this internal GPS structure that we call the soul, that's like, do this, do that. You need to work on this. You need to start your YouTube channel. You need to work on your podcast. You need to stop fucking with that broke, a lot of different things that your internal GPS directs you to. But you like, the new episode of Empire is coming on, ain't it Friday? Like that type of shit. So knowing the difference is knowing the difference between your masculine and feminine principle. Damn, let me digress. So sulfur, which ties into the emperor, which ties into creation. So the thing about creation is it could work one or two ways. You could be a Michael Jackson creator, or you could be a Prince creator. These are two creators, but they create in a very, very, very distinct and different way. Michael Jackson, although he written songs and he produced songs and he's actually an instrumentalist in his own right. If you listen to the demos of his actual first single as an adult, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, he actually did a lot of the instrumentation on that. So not taking that away from him. But Prince literally put out 60 albums, and every single note is his fucking creation, good, bad, or indifferent. He took full control of his artistic ability, even so much so he literally changed his name from Prince to a symbol and put slave on his forehead, letting people know. Like, before, you gotta understand, this was where we thought rock stars was just gods and just artists and got all the money. But Prince was letting you know, we're slaves and I'm artistic and I'm creative, and these people want to capitalize off of that. So he literally went off the grid and kept putting out album after album after album that most people didn't necessarily hear of, because we don't really think about shit unless it's assigned to popular culture. So sulfur works in a different type of way when you really understand it. We could create whatever we want to create, or we could be force fed what society thinks is good, and then once society says we've had enough of you, they'll fucking tarnish you and destroy you. And so you must know the difference. The difference between creating for real versus what you think is creating when you think of individual success. Like, I want this good ass job. Okay, my nigga, good ass job. Here you go. Okay, I'm working this good ass job for 5 years. All right, now we want you to lay off 20 of these people. And you like, no, I can't do that. I've been going to lunch with these niggas. They, you know what I'm saying? These niggas done played on my softball team. Like, we in a bowling team together. I can't fire him. Like, that's the godfather of my goddamn kids. What did you saying? I gotta quit. But I thought this was your dream. Yeah, you're right. This is my dream. Fuck it. All right, Rollo, you out of here. I gotta get that extra 50-cent raise, my nigga. Rollo, you gotta go. You feel me? And so, can you see? That's just a microcosm of what goes on times literally a million to all of us every single fucking day. You know what? I could, but I ain't. All day. That's all we do is I could help you, but I'd rather not. And so that's a human level of what we experience, but we also experience that on a psychic level where we could connect with people, we could deal with ourselves in a spiritual level, in a spiritual way, in an abstracted way, and understand, like, wait, hold on, press pause 1 second. Just pause this whole shit. Wait 1 second. Where did any initial thought fucking come from? Like, who was the first person to think a thought? And who inspired that thought? And what thoughts came from that? And then from there, what thoughts did we have that we don't even no longer think about? Because that part of the brain ain't even working, because we literally are conditioned to live in a society that is literally programmed to cut off the parts of our brain that are actually powerful. Like, literally, like, everything could be, yeah, like everything you eat, every color, like everything that you experience. Like, you think that red is really red, but maybe red is green. Like I know that sounds crazy, but like the symbolism that we attach to particular colors, that red means love, but red could literally mean I'll cut your fucking throat so I can see blood gushing out. But you wouldn't necessarily know, because the overall corporate Earth Day is green. But like, what if Earth Day is supposed to be brown or orange or fucking blue? That's besides the point. But I'm saying that when it comes to creating, you have to take control of that shit. You can't think that, okay, I'm a creator, so let me create the same shit that Will Smith is creating. That like, you have to learn that within you is a GPS that's directing you towards some shit that might not have nothing to do with what's going on around you. And what's going on around you is irrelevant, because we're understanding transmutation through compassion, through compatibility. Now, we'll deal with the etymology of these words later, but we just need to understand that if you're not willing to suffer with a person, then just don't deal with the person. Because passion is the literal sense of suffering, or You ever notice when you argue with somebody and then y'all have sex, that sex is like super intense because y'all explored those polarities and y'all resolved those polarities by coming together. Like, you ever notice that when your girl is out of town for a week and you've been faithful? And she come back, then that feeling is stronger than if y'all was fucking every day, because that's passion. Passion is, I ain't had no sex in a long time and I'm finally having sex because I've experienced the polarity so deep on the other end that now that I'm coming closer to this shit, like. But real passion is another person understanding, like, oh, you really want it, don't you? I like the fact that, like, that shit is passion. I want you, I know you want me, and I like the fact that you want me. It makes me want you too. And no, now we want each other because we have some form of understanding. And this is a sexual level, but then there's also the personal level. What has a person really fought through and came through? And from there, compassion is transmutation, because we take our struggle. We once had a struggle. Me and my wife, we started off at a struggle, but we didn't sit and rest in that struggle and, say, woe is us, poor us. Could y'all please help us? Like, literally, that was the opposite. We just did what we had to do, and we didn't never necessarily ask for help. And if anybody asked how we was doing fine. And not that we was lying. I mean, shit, it's just, I don't like to work towards something and to accomplish something and to say, you know what, we're gonna take what we learned and do more each year. I don't know what more you could ask for. Like, you just constantly just trying to do better. Like, you're not satisfied, and you're understanding that, well, I guess in the relationship, you gotta understand each other's struggle, what the other person might be going through, right? I understand my wife and the children, and, I be at work or I be working on shit and I gotta stop what I'm doing, and you know what I'm saying? But then again, my wife gotta understand that my work is super important to me and I don't want to neglect her or the children, but I'm literally trying to do something that I don't even know what I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to do it. So I can't be holding babies all fucking day. Like, that's compassion. Like, okay, we're gonna figure this shit out. You know what I'm saying? And we struggle, but we got each other. I would invite everybody to have that. I wouldn't necessarily want nobody to be like, oh, this nigga do everything for me and I just come through and kick my feet up, or, oh, I got me a sugar mama that, do everything for me, change my tire. Like, nigga, you whack as fuck to me. Like, don't even, like, I don't want nobody around me that's being taken care of by another adult. I want people that understand that, my nigga, we in this shit together, and this shit ain't easy, because shit, like, whatever you felt, like, you could be black, you could be white. The thing about white people is that what's fucked up about white people is that don't nobody think that they got issues. Like, a nigga be like, oh, I'm going through this. Be like, yeah, bro, I feel you, man, because I'm going through the same shit too. And white boy come up like, man, I'm broke. You look at him like, what? Like, how the fuck you broke? You better invest in some stocks, man. Like, so compassion, like, bruh might just, his stock might just went tank, you know what I'm saying? And you not having that compassion, dog, like, bruh might commit suicide. And you was the last person he talked to, but you just thought that he was just, you know, regular. Like, man, this shit matters, dog. Like, compassion and addiction. So there's this study, I got this off of Joe Rogan. There's this study with these mice, and these mice got two waters. They got heroin water and they got regular water. You put the mice into a cage, like some fucked up environment, they always drink the heroin water. But if you put the mice into like where like they got a whole bunch of mice friends, like it's mice women that they can have sex with, it's like a mice beach, like the mice, like, you know, exercise equipment, you know, whatever a mice could think of to be paradise is there. They give them that same water, the heroin water and the regular water. Guess what happens? The mice don't drink the heroin water no more. So where we think that addiction is, damn, you should have never got turned out on them drugs. No. You should have never neglected that person. You should have never not gave a fuck about that person. Because now that person is in a space where he's isolated, where the drugs is the only thing. And so you might be like, oh, my son is on drugs. What the fuck is wrong with him? You. Because you don't understand his pain and you don't understand what people go through. So this new moon is really an awakening to your responsibility to begin to create the relationships that you want to have. Okay, why do you say that, hood mystic? You just making shit up. Okay, why do I say that? Well, for the main reason, when you look at astrology and you want to understand what house a person's situation is, you follow the part of fortune times the new moon. So basically, whenever there's a new moon, the part of fortune is conjunct the ascendant. And so the ascendant rules the first house. So you could just simply say the first house starts at Libra, and you could just count the houses that where the new moon is at, and the new moon is in the 7th house. So the 7th house is the house of relationships. The sun and the moon is your individuality, your subconscious mind, in the constellation of Aries. Aries is the first house. So you have an initiative, masculine, feminine principle being aligned in the house of relationships, in the constellation of creation. So you literally have the opportunity to create the relationships that are ideal for you. Are you with it though, my nigga? Like, are you aware of astrology? And so I'm not even championing astrology. Like, you know, you could take like, you know how deep niggas get. They don't give a shit about astrology. They got their crystals, they got their candles, and that's all they need. And so peace be unto them. But we're gonna deal with this on an etymological level as to why astrology is vital for your very existence in understanding anything. And you could argue with me and you could tell me how your candles are supreme and that's all you need, and or you're whatever, you know what I'm saying? But you're gonna have to give me some scholarship on that shit or some experience on that shit. And this is what I'm gonna do with this conversation. I'm gonna give you scholarship and I'm gonna also give you experience. And so we can argue. So to surmise this new moon in the realms of compassion, COM means together, and patty or passion means suffering. So literally compassion means together we suffer. And I know that makes you cringe a little bit because you know nothing about transmutation, but the idea of suffering is to recognize it and rise above it. See, the problem with you is that you want to ignore suffering and constantly stay on this loop that we call karma, which is literally a loop, the same shit over and over again, because you refuse to identify suffering. And until you identify suffering, you can't transmute over it. No, you're gonna just wait until you get a 6'6" NBA player with a whole bunch of money and whisk you away. Like, I'm happy to be married and in a relationship now, but I'm so happy because 90% of the women that I ever dated or talked to just wanted to be swept off their feet. And I just couldn't do that shit. Even if I could do that shit, I just refused to do that shit because I guess I was waiting to get this message and understand that true compassion is to suffer with somebody and to overcome that suffering. So the idea with suffering is not to stay fixated on it, but to level up, to see that suffering and say, this is fucked up. I need to do something about it. Let's try this. Oh, this worked. Okay, so we know if this fucked up shit ever happens again, we could do that. Oh, you see a lot of people doing the same shit that we used to do. We can tell them what we did to get out of that fucked up situation. Oh, okay, now we got a whole thing going on. Because it seems as though everybody seems to be doing the same fucked up shit that we used to do. And it's ignorant of me to just save myself and just be like, I made it. And then look around, ain't nobody there. I'm sick of going to the mounds by myself. I'm sick of going to the art museums and being the only nigga there. Period. Sick of going to the mounds and seeing Chinese people there, Indian people there. Not the goddamn descendants of the people who goddamn built the shit. That's irony for your ass. But I keep going off on tangents and I'm sorry. I told y'all this video ain't me. This video ain't me. And so that's the new moon. But I want us to keep that in mind. It's another major aspect that's happening that's literally gonna be aspecting at 0 degrees exact at the same time that the new moon is gonna be exact. And so it literally like synchronizes up like Voltron or some shit. And so at that time of the new moon, Mars and Jupiter come into aspect, into full opposition. So what does that mean? So opposition is tension. I'm on this side, you on that side. Mars is on this side, Jupiter is on that side. Mars is masculine, Jupiter is masculine. But they both in feminine placement, so it's like they're both in quicksand or they both in water, so they don't have really good footing right now. So say for instance you don't got good footing or whatever, like the idea to keep going or keep fighting when your ground isn't there for you is what gets people in trouble. The best thing to do is just relax. So when we deal with Mars and when we deal with Jupiter, we're dealing with them in feminine constellations. So where we would act in a more material, physical way. The idea is to act in a more spiritual, internal way. See, this is experience, because even though the opposition is inexact, it's somewhat aspecting now, so we can still feel the residual effects. So, in real terms, money problems. You would, Mars, Jupiter, you would get a second job or get extra hours or get a raise. It's something physical, something like I need to physically do something to better this shit because I don't got enough money. In feminine spaces, though, it's like, let me do a ritual, let me burn some candles. I'm acting out, but I'm not acting and trying to make an imprint on the physical world. I'm trying to make my mark on the spiritual world. And see, if you can understand that, if you can smoke that, you'll get high. I'm not, So let's just deal with each aspect individually. Mars in the Taurus space, like I said, it's still Earth, but it's that quicksand Earth. And if you move too much, what happens when you try to move too much? I never been in quicksand, but you start going deeper when you start moving too much. And so Mars has literally been in Taurus, so you may have been trying to do too much and getting yourself deeper and deeper in the quicksand. And like I said previously, let's not forget that this new moon is here. So the new moon is like, okay, new moon's ruled by sulfur. You can create. It's like, okay, I can create, but I keep trying to work hard and trying to make this money and trying to make my kids proud, make my mama proud, make my daddy proud, because he ain't never gave a fuck about like doing all of this shit. But the new moon's like, you could create a new life, you can create new relationships, get you a new car, get you a new vibe, everything could be new. You just gotta sit and ponder on it, consider it for a while. Can you see how those two things can't work in the same space? Can you see how those two things cannot work in the same space, man? So, and then maybe you've mastered that. Maybe your zen is in check, right? Maybe you one of those real conscious niggas. You've been reading, you've been studying, you've been applying, you've been vegan, you done stopped eating meat. You know what I'm saying? You done stopped drinking. You only smoke weed every once. Nigga, don't be never that righteous to smoking weed. You be like, I don't do none of this shit I used to do. And past that shit though, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay. But you've expanded your mind. You've leveled up outside of societal's expectations of you as a black man or as a black woman or as a Chinese man. They thought you was just gonna be working at the nail salon forever. You said, fuck that. I'm gonna cut hair at the black barber shop. You feel me? That's your dream, you Wang Chang. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta work at the nail salon your whole life, because your tribe might be at, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't know. It's so many different things. But once you start cutting hair, you know, at Roscoe's line, they use different names now. Platinum Cuts. Wang Chang got Platinum Cuts. You know what I'm saying? He ain't going back to the nail salon. You know, You know that sexy ass hair braider that done broke him off some? You know what I'm saying? He done. So that's just a joke. I'm just joking. But when you outstretch, like, sometimes your kids done did way more than you thought that they was ever going to do. And they ain't never going to go back to little John no more because they done met Tamika, and Tamika done took them over to the west side, and you don't know what happens over on the west side. And so when they try to take him back up to Shady Hills, he ain't going to be the same. And he might not even tell you what's going on with him, but the more we are open to new experiences, the more we gotta be okay with not going back to that old shit. So you gotta, I guess, to reconcile the tension is like, do I really want to change or I don't want to change? I want to just live this basic, normal, everyday shit because that's what I'm doing. So I ain't gonna fantasize about shit. I'm gonna just be normal, be regular. Or you literally say, I'm gonna rise above this shit, and the dark side to rising above it is that them conversations with your mom is just gonna be different. Them conversations with your friends is gonna be different, and the shit that they talking about is just gonna be weird. And it's like you can't go back after you done been walking the street. So yeah, you did. That's just a joke between me and my wife, man. Y'all can't get off of what we be getting on. So don't be trying to get mad because we joking. But so we have society and we have our limits, and then we have our relationships that we were thinking that were installed with our surroundings and our society. Now, it didn't take the internet. Like, people been moving around, people been migrating, people been like bouncing around, but they ain't know what the fuck they was doing. They was just like, I gotta get out of here. I hate it here, so I'm gonna just move here. And you know what I'm saying? Just, you might be moving to the wrong place. You know what I'm saying? So you literally can feel shit out, see things, talk to people, build with people. It's so ironic, right, that the internet allows us to really connect, like really, really dive deep and get to know people and really like collaborate at a high level. Like, we could just literally do anything cooperatively right now based upon bandwidth and internet, but we share memes and shit. Ain't that crazy? We could do all types of shit right now, but we hating. You know what I'm saying? You know, or trying to like take the hottest flick, you know, in the hottest locale and stun on these bitches. You feel me? Like, literally, like, I'm flying places, I'm doing shit, and you ain't, broke ass. You feel me? Where we literally could take our struggling business and combine with other businesses and come fucking corporate conglomerates, because that's what people are doing. People are combining resources and venturing on property and never even meeting. But got property with this person, and you kick it with your fam all day and ain't bought, y'all ain't go half on a sack of weed. Kick it with them niggas all day. Them niggas won't even shoot 5 on the sack. The motherfuckers make $1 million deals, don't know you from shit. Just start a business with you because your credit score is A1. Hey, it's 2019. But so we use love as a parameter. We use love as a guide for this person that I love, that I like. Nothing can stop me from loving that person except me and them, or whatever the case may be. But we generally have an idea of what we need from a moment to moment basis if we focus on love. And another thing, so Jupiter being in its kingly state is like retrograde. So it's like the king is on vacation, right? And sometimes the king is like, why do I gotta always do shit for y'all niggas? Like what part of the kingdom is y'all not doing for yourself? Matter of fact, I'm gonna see how this shit go. I'm gonna go a retrograde for about 6 months. Let me see how you boss up, my nigga, cause I got a life, dog. Like, I can't be micromanaging your shit. Like, what make you think that I'm special cause I got on this crown? Like, the queen is tripping. I got the consorts is tripping. Like, let me do my thing for a little bit, okay? Certain people gonna be like, deuces. And other people gonna be like, damn, what we gonna do without a king? And so that's kind of like Donald Trump being a president, right? Like, we don't have a fucking president, dog. Like, come on, man. But certain people really like, damn, we don't got a president. Like, and certain people like, shit, we don't got a president. So I can kind of, like, this whole shit is like, I could literally do me, like, you know, and that God energy should wake up in you and you figure out what you need to do once that enabler is not there. Okay. But even though it's like being under your mama when you're 35 or some shit like that. Like, you wouldn't necessarily want to do that. You would want to get out and see the world. But y'all be having ideologies that's like your mama and you're 35 or you're grown and you haven't created who you are or what you want to, like, you don't even fucking know. Cause you don't necessarily know that you could create the shit from nothing. Because everything that was created from nothing. When you get deep into the shit, like you get deep and you just keep getting deep, you just start seeing that this nigga created this and that nigga created that, and everybody just out here creating shit, creating sigils, doing magic, hypnotizing your ass, shooting shit in your dreams, making you think shit is spiritual when it ain't. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what's what, and it's like technology is making you think that shit is more spiritual because you looking at a goddamn computer screen all day, and now that shit is in your dreams, and you've been looking at Oshun on the computer, you dream about Oshun, you think it's spiritual, but that's just how the brain work. Like, it's a lot of shit, right? A lot of shit, a lot of lies, and the only truth boils down to connection. And when it comes to creating a god or a deity, you got that responsibility too. You could create a being higher than yourself if you want to, because like people just got hung up on that idea that human beings wasn't shit. Like a human being felt like he wasn't shit one day and said, man, I don't feel like shit. I need to create something bigger than me to make me feel better. I'm gonna create a god in the image of myself. And it literally say that shit in the Bible. It don't have shit to do, like, why would God create you in the image of him and you ain't never seen no image of the motherfucker? But you got an image of yourself and you creating a goddamn god. right? You doing all the fucking writing. God ain't wrote shit. like the mind is a terrible thing to waste. So, man, it's interesting because last night we burnt some candles. We did some spiritual shit though too. We was cleansing the house and burning herbs and resins and shit. I personally went hard. I went hard with no intention. That's how I do my shit. I don't be like, please give me a car. I'm gonna do this spell to get a car. I don't never do no shit like that. I just like if I'm a go hard, I'm gonna go hard. What you want to return? Nothing. Not a damn thing. Whatever you got for me. You got 50 cents. Just saying thank you for whatever you give me. And so all right, do the thing. And then I'm studying. So this Jupiter placement, the Sabian symbol for 29 degrees is intercession. And so I'm Googling intercession, and intercession is tied into a mediator or a mediatrix like Virgin Mary. I say Virgin Mary, that's interesting. Don't think nothing of it. But I remember that word mediatrix because it's so weird, right? Like you don't see that word again, right? So I'm on my chat at work and I see some shit come across the chat. Like this is a work chat now. It's this electronic that's called mediatrix that's like it does like so in department stores, you walk in and you hear the corny ass music playing. Well, it's a system that operates that music in certain stores, and the system is called mediatrix. So I said, oh shit, what the fuck? Now, how many times, like, you don't see that word twice in one day, you don't see it once in one day, but I was open to the channel, and so the channel went along the lines of people can work with the Virgin Mary because the Virgin Mary is like mother type deity where your mama, you ever ask your mama for shit and she don't be like, why? You acting fucked up, make sure, and then when you doing spells and shit, everybody online like, hey man, is you wearing white underwear when you do that spell? Oh my goodness, this nigga wearing white underwear. You know what I'm saying? Like dumb shit, right? Like you don't know what's what for real. Like, hey, you work with that shit whack. Or, just a whole bunch of shit like where, oh, you doing that shit evil. That shit gonna fuck up your life. You dealing with that. Like, you could say a whole bunch of different shit to scare you out of some shit, and then you could go do a whole bunch of shit and don't none of that shit work. You still in the projects, you still lonely, your feet, your sandals still got the dirt marks. And so like, but you've been doing all of this shit, right? But dealing with Virgin Mary, right, is taken from the Black Madonna, right? And the Black Madonna, right, is literally the Black Madonna. It's the black woman's energy encapsulated, usurped, and transported throughout the diaspora of, worship Virgin Mary. Like no matter where you go on this earth, there is somewhere where the fucking Virgin Mary is being worshipped. There's altars. Like tell me if I'm lying, right? Virgin Mary's everywhere, correct? So what is that though? Like, so it spoke to me that you could literally go to this energy for anything, and you don't have to be like, Mother May I and turn around 3 times. Like, no extra shit. You could just be like, I just want a man. I'm lonely. Like, you know, I'm broke as shit. Like, you know, please let me get $10 so I can buy lunch tomorrow. Like, you know, just whatever. You know what I'm saying? And she's gonna deal with you because she is the lady of compassion. Like, she will help you. And it was like, place everything upon my garments. And like, I was hearing all of this, like, you know, I am the black woman and this is my energy, but don't get fixated on a race because the race will just fuck people up. So just grab a Virgin Mary statue, don't matter what the race, what it look like, just grab it and work with it, and I'll begin to help people. Like, so I was like, shit, well, I'm gonna get on the live and I'm gonna tell people, like, grab you a Virgin Mary statue, like, read on some Virgin Mary shit, like, study the Black Madonnas, like, jump on this shit, especially if you need some help, especially if you need some compassion. And then, like, that was a whole separate thing, right? So that was just that. And then this picture right here that I got up, this is the nakshatra that the new moon falls on, the Bharani nakshatra, the star of restraint, or the womb star. And so I'm just looking for art, you know, for content or whatever. And then, damn, this goddamn picture pop up. I'm like, well, I'll be goddamn. That just took the cake. Like, okay, loud and clear. So I doubled down on that. I challenge you to get you a Virgin Mary, study a Virgin Mary, Black Madonna, Sophia. Like, you could walk up into a Catholic church and won't nobody give a damn. You know what I'm saying? Light a candle at a Catholic church. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you might get caught up on, like, oh, that's the Catholic Church and da 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 da. But you need to understand the Catholic Church has your energy and it fucking thrives and survives off of it. And since you think that it's evil by design, you won't fuck with it. So fuck with it in spite of them being evil. And don't fuck with it on their custom and their dogma. Fuck with it on, oh, this my energy. I'm resonating with this shit. I'm about to come in here and light a candle. I'm about to sit here and chill with this St. Mary altar. Might smoke a blunt with her pastor. Like, I don't know. That, don't get me to get you indicted or no shit. But like, they got outside altars. Like, you can go, man, it's a lot of our energy when we die, it gets usurped into that shit. Like, it's like a fucking, I seen just energy just getting fused into this Virgin Mary shit. And I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? And then it was like, look up what Notre Dame mean. And I'm like, Notre Dame mean a hunchback, my nigga. Like, I know what Notre Dame mean. Is like, no, it don't mean no fucking hunchback, you fucking idiot. Like, look it up. And I'm like, shit, what do Notre Dame mean? It means Our Lady. And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm burning that shit, I'm tearing that shit down, but, you know, you can still deal with it. Like, just trying to awaken you to your energy, even though it might not be in the clothes that you think it's supposed to be in. Even though it don't got an afro saying, what up, nigga? Like, you ain't gonna deal with it, and therefore you may suffer. So, Nakshatra Bharani, ladies and gentlemen, is ruled by Venus, is represented by the female sexual organ because there are 3 stars that is, like, that reside in Aries that you can't really see, but ancient astrologers view those 3 stars as the womb, and that's where the new moon is going to be at. So the womb in its aspect or its nature, like the womb outside of its sexual is known to receive, known to bear, known to foster, and also annihilate. I know some wombs that have annihilated some niggas, so, you know, it's all of that. So, you know, I've seen all different aspects of the divine feminine, and it all ties into the energy that's available. We can begin to receive, we can bear, we can foster ideas, create children, take care of children, and then also annihilate certain things. Like, so when you think about the feminine cycle, right? Isn't a period removing the impurities out of your body? You feel? Isn't that, was that? Don't you do that or no? Because I don't. Is it somewhat like that? Baby, there. Is that a misnomer though? Like, is that like a false thing that people just say? Like, period, get rid of toxins. It's not no real proof of that, really. That's just something people say. Correct. That's why people drink the shit and do put it on their face and things like that. Yeah. Yeah, like your skin has toxic, everything about you has some form of toxins to it, but yeah, it's interesting. I felt when I said that wasn't necessarily true. It didn't feel right as I was saying it. And so that periods are good because they get rid of toxins, but you said that you could reduce the period cycle, really? Also steaming. So how long is, do you mind? How long is your period usually? 2 to 3 days? Is that good or bad? It's good. What's the normal period time like for the average woman? That you up to 7 days, maybe more. Mm. True. So you can say like through diet and like eating differently and steaming, you reduce your period. Now I'm not a dude, so is that like the shit to be like I only bled for 2 days versus to bleed for like, is that like, explain that to me in like nigga terms? I'm trying to figure out like how geeked I should be for you.
It's like
Your pants be soggy and wet for like but it feels like that, like it feels uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. 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 Like, what is it? So what is it? Is it like, I can imagine, right? So say for instance my nose was bleeding like for 7 straight days every month though, like that shouldn't be crazy. No, I got a headache, I don't feel good because my nose is bleeding. Yeah. Yeah. So if you, so another thing, like if you have a period for a longer period of time, you're losing more blood. So when it gets to the end of the period, you tired, you ready to beat a nigga's ass because you literally.
It was not so more so when it gets to the end, you're more.
You know it's about to end.
It's right there at the beginning and
in the middle. But that could be due to the fact that you lose more blood than you really supposed to lose. Yeah, a lot of women I know, especially skinny girls, be like, "Oh, it's so cold. You know, I need to take my iron pill." Like, yeah, I know.
But no, sometimes they do have.
So, altercreations.net, if they have questions about that reducing the period, just not even to sell no products, but just talk about it if it's interesting. Anything related to womb health, reach out. Okay. So you heard it here first, www.altercreations.net. Make sure you hit that contact us tab, and that sends an email directly to my wife. Any questions that you have related to what we just talked about. That was a nice little segue, little advertisement. Now back to regularly scheduled program, my nigga. We're gonna just really discuss etymology and some things that we discussed throughout this whole build, and which I really thought was interesting. And it made me think about something that I've read like in my first introduction to like getting deep and deep into consciousness. I always heard this by Aleister Crowley, and forever it meant it just stuck with me for some reason. And I don't necessarily know why it really stuck with me. I've created different generalizations as to what it possibly could mean. Now I know what it means for real, especially with connection. That connecting piece to me is big because I literally been trying to be the world's most famous nigga in the world and show the world that I was the shit. And now I'm just like, I just want to connect. Like, it makes more sense. But why do I feel that way? So the quote is, every man and every woman is a star. A star is an individual identity. It radiates energy. It goes. It is a point of view. It is an object. It is to become whole by establishing relations with other stars. Each such relation is an event, is an act of love under will. So when you think about stars, like you might see one star, but if you was to bring your view out further, you would see what is called a constellation or a galaxy, which is a whole grouping of stars. Like literally that's what stars are. The more further you come back, it's like just a bunch of niggas hanging out at the barbecue, drinking beer, like, kicking it, like in the astral. Like that's what stars are. But if every man and every woman is a star, then I would wonder, like, why would a person say that? And so so the first word was compassion, and the first word was compatible. Like, how you just hear a word and you hear certain things, but certain things is really trigger you. Like you got to study that. Like where I guess the thought of to me was like, where a person can be good. Like you could be good, you could be a good person, but you may not just be compatible with another person. Like it just might not, like we just don't work. But he pay all the bills or she pay all the bills, but I'm just not, it just don't feel right. See, that's compatibility. And so I was like, damn, what is compatibility though? Like, what does that mean to be compatible with somebody? And so that got me to, calm, which is together, and patty, which means to suffer, meaning together we suffer. And so I was like, but hold on, man. I'm not trying to suffer with nobody though. Like, why do I gotta be suffering with you? So I had to kind of get into my Vedic bag a little bit. So, according to Vedic thought, suffering is the inescapable, integral part of life. It's the major part of life. Like, life is suffering. But then again, I'm like, man, I don't want to suffer though. Like, I'm not trying to suffer though. So I just need to keep studying. And so suffering has many different levels. And where we discuss like alchemy, where it's transmutation, well, you can transmutate suffering as well. And to get to this point, like where you don't deal with suffering is where you really develop and have the rainbow body. And the rainbow body is where you don't have dualities, like everything is everything. Like, and from there, if you're not dead, like, because I guess the rainbow body could be when you're dead, where you don't have no duality because you don't have no body. But we're thinking about the rainbow body when you're living is your primordial state. And your primordial state ain't trying to figure out salt or sugar, good or bad or nothing. It's like I'm here, like, and if I'm here, I want to be around my constellation or my partners, or the people that's a part of my galaxy, like, and this is consciousness. So if you awaken your star body, then by default you want to deal with other star beings that radiate on your frequencies. Like, so it's like, okay, man, this is getting crazy. It's still not making sense for me. So I'm like, okay, suffering, and then karma and transmutating it. So, okay, I could get that. You don't you don't suffer forever. You get better. Okay, we getting better. And then it's like, okay, desires. Okay, what the hell is desires? So I look into desires, and then like desires really mean from the stars. I'm like, what? From the stars? Heavenly body, star, constellation. I thought desire meant something different. But that's why you get into the etymology, because it's like, okay, where you might think desire means one thing, it might mean a totally different thing. Like the original sense of the word means from the stars. And to me, I'm kind of bugged out because I deal with astrology all the fucking time. So it's like the obvious, right? Like, await what the stars will bring. And it's like you literally get a glimpse into the future by understanding the stars, and by studying the stars, knowing that this is a seventh house new moon, and knowing that we can create our relationships. My nigga, I'm awaiting that. I'm awaiting new relationships and being able to bring the sulfur out and create relationships as I see fit. And so in the etymology on etymology.com or .org or .net or .gov, whatever, it's like see consider. And I'm like, man, why do I gotta see consider? What do consider gotta do with desire, man? Because this is getting weird. Consider means to observe the stars. Another thing about desire. So, desire, the verb, means to await what the stars will bring. But there's also desire as a noun, like a fixated desire, where desire as a noun is the desire that the Hindus talking about. Desire as a verb is the more ancient word, the more shit that we're doing. We're desiring by simply awaiting what the stars will bring. But if desire is a verb, then you actively are desiring the person that's in front of you. Like, you ever wanted somebody that you had? That's my level of desire. I want what I have. Like, my children, like, I want my children. Like, my wife. Yeah, like it's outside of me. But I think I got it natural based upon my observation. Because I've considered a lot of things. I've observed the stars a lot in many different forms. And so to consider is taken from sidereal. And I'm like, sidereal? Damn. And I made the leap from Western astrology to sidereal astrology because I am star like. Why it's a natural, why I had to do it. Because I am sidereal. I am a star. Because the first thing is every man and every woman is a star. And so to study astrology is to study yourself. For real. not studying the ancestors who are some fucking idiots. Not the ancestors was idiots, but I'm talking about human beings as a concept, and going to have fish fries and shit. You feel me? Like, is that what we worshiping? Fish fries? Or why is you studying astrology? Because I want to better my life? Or do I want to understand myself? Now, this conversation ain't for everybody, but it could be for everybody if you can read every man and every woman is a star. Do you want to argue? Do you want to argue? It doesn't say every man and every woman is a Orisha, or is a god, or is a titan, or is a warrior, or is a healer, or is a reader, is a psychic. It doesn't say that. Every man and every woman is a star. Why is everybody fixated with astrology? I mean, not everybody, some of us. It's a lot of us. It's a lot of motherfuckers who's interested in astrology. Can you say why? Because a lot of them is trying to figure out how to get the new house, how to get the new boyfriend, but that's a level. Now, I've walked this shit down on the, like, I did not create none of that like all of this slide right here, these 3 words, I didn't create that. I didn't manipulate that. So you take it how you want to desire means to await what the stars will bring. To consider means to observe the stars. Why would we even think to observe the stars? Because we are sidereal. Sidereal is an adjective meaning that sidereal explains something, a person, place, or thing. Therefore, we have sidereal astrology and we have sidereal people. I'm a sidereal person. I'm a star-like person. I'm a descendant from a star. Like, before a thing, and I remember I asked the question, who invented the first thought? It did not come from a human being because it just couldn't. The first thought had to come from somewhere else. And think about how close we've come to understanding something that's so far and so fucking foreign. It wouldn't make sense for us to even give a shit about a star perceived to be millions of light years away, and we have a fucking tree leaf 20 feet away that we don't give a fuck about. Nobody's doing a fucking, a breakdown monthly, weekly on the tree leaves. We're doing it on the stars because the stars are important. Why are they important? Because the stars are you. And this is why I talk about astrology, because I'm literally trying to teach human beings to look at themselves differently. You fucked up because you looking at yourself based upon a program, a psyop that's literally designed to clash you and to subjugate you into shit that you might not have anything to do with. Oh, girls play with dolls. Well, what if your Mars is conjunct your sun? You should be out fucking jousting. Should be on horseback with a knife, or I said a knife, a sword or something. Like, you should be doing something more physical because you're Aries. Like, you're a Martian. What is you talking about, hood mystic? I'm a woman. I'm supposed to be dainty, but I don't feel dainty. Well, where is your goddamn Mars at? Where's your Venus at? Like, you need to understand this shit about yourself so you can figure your shit out, because society is lying. So, hope that made sense. Because it's different. It's very different. But I didn't create it out of fucking thin air. I didn't make this shit up. So, I'm ready to argue with the made up shit that you got versus the shit that, you know, I'm just feel like I'm pulling it out of thin air, but this is like a system that's tried and true that I've been kind of working and formulating and bringing to the surface video after video after video. So, I mean, not in no egotistical way, but goddamn, we just learning. Like we are learning. And we're learning new information. That's why if you fuck with me, you ahead of the game, because I feel like the only person that's not afraid to learn, not afraid to not sit in my ego and be like, oh, I'm the great whatever the fuck. Man, I literally know that at any moment they gonna shut down YouTube. So my focus is, you know, peering over at my wife and making sure the kids are snuggly wuggly in the goddamn bed at night. Like literally, that's all I really care about. This is for fun. Love is the law, love under will. There is like love under will. Like if you don't know what that means, it literally means that love is under will. So will is on top of love. So you will love because love is the law. That's a personal problem that you really need to work out within yourself. That if your primary shit is love, everything works out. It's only two polarities that we can act out of. We can act out of love or we can act out of fear. The shit that's fucked up in your life, the trouble, the fear, the anxiety, the worry is based upon fear, not out of love, and you're not willing yourself to love because you've given up. Bring your worry to me. And that, as I was speaking that, it made me think about back to, you know, Virgin Mary, man. I ain't gonna give that shit. Like, man, you can say what you want. You say hood mystic done turned Christian, whatever. But man, listen. Man, I ain't gonna say, man, fuck it. Do your own thing. Card of the week is the Emperor. The Emperor, which we started this video off, the alchemical symbol for the Emperor is sulfur. The astrological placement for the Emperor is Aries. I've been wanting to talk about the Emperor for a while. I think this is the perfect time though. The Emperor is all about order, discipline, structure. And it's not in a sense of ruling others, even though it can be, but in order to create, right? It's easier to create in a sense of structure, order, you know, logic. These things are important. Control, discipline. All of these things where you talk about the Emperor, if you just think about it as some old white man sitting on the throne, you kind of miss the point. When you talk about the Emperor, you're talking about your own self to control and rule and order your life and your creation in a way that you want. So when I say you can create the relationships that you want to create, I'm speaking in reference to the Emperor because it's like, you old half-ass manifesting ass motherfucker. I hope that my spell work. That's kind of like the servant doing the spell. But imagine the king doing the spell. Or you gonna have, you know, people like conspiring to make this manifestation real because the Emperor mote it be. The Emperor say, bring me whatever, and then people rush to get it. So I'm like trying to think about that in a spiritual way, in a new moon way, in a setting intentions way. Like, what kind of setting intentions you gonna do this year, this month, Hood Mystic? I'm setting intentions like a boss. Like, you feel me? I'm setting that shit like, man, I can't, like, I'm gonna buy me a crown one day, but I'm gonna get that shit custom made though. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I only gonna wear it for rituals when I'm doing spells. Like, you know what I'm saying? Cause that's the authority that you gotta have when you doing that shit. Why the fuck else not? Like, why would you be doing the spells like, oh please, Oshun, could you please, like if you was like, thinking about me for a second, squeeze me in, you know what I'm saying? Girl, get sister. Like, oh shoot, gonna be looking at you like, nah. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go fuck with Beyonce. She really she repping for this shit. You feel me? Like she out and about with it. You feel me? So even though I talked for an hour and 26 minutes, I did not even scratch the surface on that article. Everything that I discussed was me paraphrasing like a couple like I literally took like 5 sentences and like created the whole content. So it's like 200 more sentences, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm putting this shit out early so we can kind of, there's a lot of shit gonna happen, that's gonna tie into this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, the Hood Mystic was talking about Virgin Mary. You know what I'm saying? That shit is crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Madonna done put out a single. You know what I'm saying? Madonna, you gonna hear shit about Madonna and like the people who been usurping her energy, she gonna revert and retort back. So it's like people like Madonna, Britney Spears, like who else? It's somebody older than Madonna. Barbara Streisand, them type of motherfuckers. Like, be on the lookout for them. Not saying nothing bad, but they might put out a CD or something. You know what I'm saying? That CD might be the funk. You know what I'm saying? The new Barbara nigga, like, oh. But I'm tripping. But yeah, so yeah, that. But the article also has 10 ways that we can free ourselves from suffering. That within itself is worth checking out the article within itself. And I really don't care if you check out the website. I don't get paid from it. So me pushing you there or advising you to check out the link or check out the article, it doesn't really serve me. It can only kind of heighten or get you aware of what's going on and kind of take your own notes and come up with your own realizations. Because, man, to come up with all of this, it seems like some big conspiracy. Like, this whole article feels like I did not have anything to do with it, and everything was kind of placed before me to kind of just present the information and such. So I hope it was fluid. I hope it made sense. I hope that what I'm saying got legs to it, like it matters, and that you'll begin to start connecting and stop thinking about your own personal stunting on niggas this summer. Like, this is the summer of connection, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. So before I end this live, for the people who might get to this late in the video, join us on Slack, man. Make sure you download the application and let me know you downloaded the application. I'll send you the link to get invited to our group and we can talk there. Patreon.com/The Hood Mystic, where we do monthly moon sign readings. www.hoodmystic.com, that's kind of like the hub where everything goes down at. www.altercreations.net, that's my wife's baby. Candles, herbs, yoni steams, and also just womb health consultation. So altercreations.net is where you can find her. hoodmystic.com is where you can find me. We just want to appreciate all the support, all the help, and we hope that we are returning that energy just as we're receiving it, and we got this nice reciprocation thing going on. That's all I'm about. energy exchange. But past that, you know, everything that's been said has been said, and we can move forward. Thank you for listening, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.